up? Welcome back to my channel. Today I have a super fun tag video that I'm going to be doing. It's called the Summertime Teacher Tag, and it was actually created by Jess over at The Social Speechy and Michelle over at Creative Scribbles. They are two of the nicest ladies. I love their videos. Michelle's actually an art teacher, and Jess is going to school to become a speech-language pathologist like myself. So we have that in common. But they just have a bunch of questions all about what teachers are going to be doing over the summer, so let's just hop right into it. I am definitely not a travel person. I am very much a staycation lady, so I'm not going to be taking any major trips this summer as far as like traveling or vacationing. Also, just because I got a new little friend, you probably saw him in my last video, Chip. So I can't really go anywhere that's going to be leaving him for an extended period of time. Not that I would really want to. I'm a firm believer in the motto right now of if my dog can't go, I'm not going. And I probably follow that a little bit too hard. But I do have some fun like adventures that I plan to do. Something that maybe you don't know about me because it never really comes up on my channel, but I'm actually super into like the whole dead mall thing, where the abandoned malls and kind of going around and looking at them. I get sucked into both YouTube channels, Retail Archaeology and Dan Bell. I love watching their videos. They did a whole bunch on Toys R Us since it's closing down, and just a bunch of different malls. They kind of travel all over and go visit these malls that are either abandoned or closing down or already closed down. And they kind of just comment on the architecture, and they just kind of like look at it and kind of discuss maybe the history of the mall. So I'm super into those types of things. I don't know why, I just like, I eat it up. So I'm going to actually be doing a few mall areas that are around me with some friends that are also into it. We're gonna go kind of explore some of the abandoned malls or ones that are kind of getting to more of the abandoned state. So I'm really excited for that. Also, I love antiquing and like thrift shops. So we are going to do a bunch of that this summer and just traveling to different antique and flea market places. I love looking at the old furniture and maybe restoring some pieces. So definitely on my to-do list this summer. I love that I have the time to actually do that. So I guess that's probably like my vacation this summer. So more like day trips, but that's kind of the life that I'm about. I'm probably doing a little bit of both. I feel like I'm mostly enjoying the summer off because theoretically I don't really count the speech loft as work, whether it's the YouTube videos or just making products. I mean, I know technically it is, but I have so much fun doing it, and it just like works really well into my daily life that I don't really look at it as work. So I guess technically, yes, I am working. I'm working on a ton of products for next year, as well as like new homework assignments, packets, things like that, because I am moving schools and I just want to get a jump start. Also some organizational things because my caseload will be almost double. So I definitely want to hit the ground running once August hits and we go back to work. So a lot of those things are in the works, but like I said, it just doesn't really feel like a ton of work when I'm sitting on my couch watching Netflix in the background. But I guess technically, yes, I am doing a combination of both working and relaxing this summer. I am probably the unpopular minority of this question, but I definitely prefer to spend my days inside for the most part, I would say. Like, I like going to the beach, and I do like getting out in the morning and going on my walk. But for the most part, especially once it gets too hot or too cold, like I don't do well with extreme temperatures, so I typically tend to spend most of my time indoors. Like, I'm just gonna be straight up with that. Like, I am not an outdoorsy person. I am not like super naturey. I can't tell you what would be poison ivy or I don't know, any type of foliage. Like, it's just not my thing. It's beautiful to look at, and I wish that I was like more in tune with it, but more often than not, I find myself inside. So I guess I'm gonna have to go with I'm an indoor girl, even if I'm trying to change that a little bit. My best summer memory. Does it count if it's from this summer? Actually, you know what? No. I won't cheat. I won't do this summer's because that really doesn't count because it just happened. But my best summer memory, I'll do two. From recent years will probably be when I moved down here. And I was able to just find a job, and I just kind of picked up my whole life and journeyed on down to the state of Virginia, because why not? That was probably the most spontaneous thing I have ever done or ever will do. I can't really see myself doing anything more spontaneous than that. And it was definitely a very exciting time. I mean, this was at a time when I didn't think I was going to get a job, and I thought that I would probably be doing like odd jobs until, I don't know, the end of time, because when you don't have a job, you never know when one's gonna pop up. So it just kind of felt hopeless. I'd applied to a bunch of places and there just weren't any openings, and they kept saying that they would keep my resume, and if an opening like happened to crop up, that they would call me. I was put on a lot of waiting lists. There were a few opportunities back home in New York where people were gonna go on maternity leave, but then at the last minute they decided not to, so the positions never really opened up. There was a lot of part-time work that wouldn't be really helpful because it was such a far distance to travel that I wouldn't be able to have another job to kind of compensate. So it was a mess, and it was not the best time. I mean, I was happy and I was thankful for the jobs that I did have. I worked as a substitute teacher and also as a substitute speech therapist more often than not, but if they ever were short on general education teachers, they put me in the classroom. And I was super thankful for that. And I mean, I was also doing some side stuff. Seems to be my whole life, it's been side jobs. So I was very thankful for that, but it wasn't what I went to school for and what I had all of this education and this knowledge in, and it was a really discouraging time period in my life. But the fact that I was able to get this job, and I mean, honestly, to have all of the job offers that I got when I applied down here in the state of Virginia, it was just really reassuring and kind of like that pick-me-up that I needed to know that I had made the right decision in going to school for this profession, because for a while back in New York, it felt like that maybe I didn't make the right choice because I couldn't make a living from it for whatever reason. But I'm gonna go with, that's my best adult summer memory, and then I guess as a kid, I don't know. I mean, not like anything like super major specific, just like the fun things that you do as a kid over the summer, like going to the pool and like getting the ice cream truck, or like getting ice cream from the ice cream truck. You don't buy the ice cream truck. Little things like that, having like barbecues down by the playground, like those are all of like a combination of just like things that you think of when you think of the summer. I feel like I'm the complete opposite of everyone with this. I actually wake up later during the school year than I do in the summer. I don't know why. It's like a weird thing that I do. Basically, when it gets dark, I pretty much fall asleep. And if it's still dark, I'm pretty much like, it's nighttime, I need to be sleeping. So it's really hard for me to wake up when it's dark outside, but if it's light when I wake up and it's already morning and the sun's shining through, like I am up as soon as like day breaks. And I really wish that was like a thing that I didn't have to worry about, but I do. And during the year, I am very grumpy when it's dark, still dark outside in the morning, and I have to be up for work. But this summer, I've been waking up at like 4:35. I don't know why. And it's probably not the best because I'm going to bed at like 8:30, 9 o'clock. But you know, old lady life, so we'll see. I'm trying to like stay up later and sleep in later. I'm just trying to push it, but we'll see how that works. It's a weird thing. I couldn't explain it. It is what it is. I just kind of run with it. As long as I'm productive and I'm up. I like being up early in the morning because I get the most done then, and it's just like my time. So I do appreciate that, but I also get like so tired by the end of the day, which isn't really the end of the day, that like I'm exhausted and I can't really do anything because it's almost time for me to go to bed. So hopefully I will have amended that issue by the time summer ends. I have just jumped on the audiobook trend and I rented Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. I think that's what it's called. It's old. Everybody's already listened to it and or read it, but I really like it when I'm like doing my walk in the morning and I'm like doing multiple laps. I find that I focus less on the fact that I feel like I'm dying and more on the actual book itself. So that has been a huge help. I also want to read some books for work. I mean, that's kind of not interesting and sounds really lame and cheesy, but I kind of get into those. And then there are definitely some self-improvement books that I want to look into getting because I hear a lot of great things about them, but I just haven't really dove into that. I'm much more of like a documentary person than I am like to sit down and read. Now, as a kid, I read tons. I mean, as a kid, that's all I did was read. But now as an adult, I don't know. I find it very hard to just sit down and read a book. But audiobooks are like a lifesaver. So I'm mad that I haven't gotten on that trend a little bit earlier, because cleaning goes quicker, the walks go quicker, exercise go, everything that I really don't like to do goes so much faster when I'm listening to an audiobook. So that's definitely my number one tip for anybody. If you can listen to something while you're doing something that you would prefer not to be doing, definitely do it, because it distracts you. I am still going to be a speech-language pathologist in an elementary school, so I will still have the same age range of kids, but I will be at a new elementary school next year. I know I've talked about that extensively in previous vlogs. I think even in my last vlog, was it? I gave like a mini tour of my new office, so I'm super excited, and that's definitely a new adventure that y'all are going to join me on this upcoming school year. Gosh, I have probably too much on my list of things that I would like to prep and make. Currently, I am working on a huge articulation card pack that I am going to be making for all of the sounds, consonant clusters, blends, you name it, I'm gonna have it. I want to do that not only to use this upcoming year. I do have finally some super duper articulation cards, I think for most of the sounds actually. I'm going to be coupling this though with progress monitoring, so these cards are going to be super helpful. I also have little sheets with all of the words on them, and then it's going to be easy to print out to attach to homeworks. So it's kind of like a multitude of things in one. I'm hoping to have that up in the TPT store by the time I go back to work. It's honestly something that's taking a really long time. I just want to make sure that I'm having everything match up, everything is in the correct order, there are good sentences, and all of the words are appropriate for the age ranges that we are going to be looking at. So stay tuned for that. There's also a bunch of social skills group activities that I'm working on making, because I do have a lot of children this year that have an autism diagnosis that have specific goals working on social skills, and it's way more than I've ever had. I've kind of always touched on social skills informally because I felt like my kiddos needed it, but it wasn't necessarily a specific goal they had. And this year there are legitimate specific social skills goals that need to be addressed, and I have a ton of ideas for activities for them, so I'm trying to crank those out as well. The first day back for teachers is August 6th, that's the first Monday of August, and then the first day back for students is August 13th. So we do go back pretty early this year, not so much earlier than in previous years, but like early enough that it really feels like June and July is basically the extent of summer vacation, which is a pretty sweet deal still, so I'm not like too upset about it. But I start prepping, I don't think I ever stopped prepping, basically. I mean, I was in my new school the 2 weeks after school let out, just kind of organizing, going through everything. I've been slowly but surely like measuring things and kind of organizing and figuring out how I'm going to set up my classroom and buying little things for it. I am trying to dial back my spending this year just because it does get a little out of hand, and I have so much stuff, and I really realize that now that I had to bring some of it home just so that the room didn't look super cluttered. But still, I can't help but shop the Target dollar spot. If you're a teacher, you feel me, right? I mean, we haven't even had the back to school stuff come out yet, so I can only imagine what's gonna happen. But I'm trying really hard, so hopefully this will hold me accountable to that. Don't let me spend. Future Amanda, stop spending money. This is past Amanda telling you, stop spending money. I don't believe I have any specific, like legitimate, actual professional development plans for the summer. I do a lot of like online conferences and like online videos, but that's kind of like as I see them. Like if I'm just scrolling every once in a while, I'll kind of go on Super Duper. They have a lot of free CEUs that you can get. Sometimes Asha will have them. I know for a while they were doing one free course every month. I'm not sure if they're doing that still, but things like that. I'm always interested in kind of learning about different things. I also watch a lot of videos and read a lot of research articles that I'm not necessarily going to get credit for, but just on topics that interest me or things that I'm curious on, because a lot of times I feel like I learned about stuff or have learned about stuff in the past, especially in like my grad school courses, especially in the school system. You kind of just fall into the way things are done there and not necessarily reflect back on like different ways to do things. Like I know that happens to me a bunch of times. Like these are the assessments we give, like this is how it works, this is how the meeting runs, like, and it's just very much like all laid out already. And sometimes I have to stop and think that, okay, you know what, this didn't really work so well for this student, like what else can I bring in, rather than just kind of be stuck in that mindset. I don't know if there's any song that I specifically listen to in the summer or one that like screams like summertime to me, but I will say that the Black Eyed Peas' Tonight's the Night, or This Is the Night, I forget what it's called now at this point. Like it was really popular, like, God, almost 10 years ago, maybe 10 years ago. Ugh, I'm dating myself. My friend and I like listened to that all summer when we used to drive into Queens, like for nights out and stuff. So that definitely just like brings me right back to that time period. We definitely like played that song out, but that was like our jam. And anytime they played it in the bars or like the restaurants, like we would always dance to it. So definitely that one just like transports me back to summertime. Those are all the questions in the summertime teacher tag. Definitely let me know if you make the video as well. I will leave the questions down in the description box, and I will also leave both Jess's and Michelle's links to their videos. Definitely check theirs out. I believe there's also a playlist going around with all of ours on them, so definitely check out the other educators. There's some really great women on there that are really inspiring and really awesome and are doing great things. And I will see you in my next video. Bye guys!